Alright, in a time where it feels like modern tech has pretty much peaked, there was one phone that literally stood out because of how bad its value was. And that, my friends, was the iPhone SE 3, or iPhone SE 2022. Wait, no, sorry, this is the iPhone 8 from 2017. But hey, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference anyways, unless it were because of the yellowing case. And so, when Tim Cook and his fellow Apple executives went on stage and announced their latest iPhone 16e in a short 10-minute video, we were all pretty excited and hopeful. Why not call it the iPhone SE 2025 or iPhone SE 4? Well, this is where we start to get into some problems. Because this phone is, well, not the same value proposition, not the same phone it used to be. Okay, rewinding back a bit, when you look at all the jumps this phone has made from a technical perspective, not considering anything else, the upgrades are pretty big. In fact, let's see if I can even say it in one breath. Here I go. Apple has straightened out the sides in an iPhone 14 style design, finally swapped out Touch ID for Face ID, RIP home button, added USB-C, thank you European Union, put an OLED display instead of LCD on it, giving the phone a much improved 48 megapixel camera, and put the A18 chip inside of it, enabling Apple Intelligence. Whew. But this phone made quite a few interesting decisions I don't think any of us saw coming. Like, for example, how they actually added an action button instead of a mute switch that can access visual intelligence instead of the camera control, which is a feature that it doesn't have. But who really cares about the camera control, let's be honest. But also, on the other side, how they removed a GPU core from the A18 chip so that gaming performance actually isn't as good as the iPhone 16, even though Apple tells us they had the same chip. We had also hoped for more colors, but they only gave us black and white, which is fine. Okay, Apple, I see how it is. Along with that, we had expected an Apple-designed cellular modem, which they did indeed introduce and named it C1. But even though we thought the performance of this modem would be really bad, which it probably will be, it turns out it's really power efficient. On Apple's website, they say that it has 4 hours longer battery life than even the base model iPhone 16, which is pretty cool and crazy. And then we get to some trade-offs we have, such as the notch instead of dynamic island, and just one 48 megapixel camera sensor. But hey, even though we don't have an ultra-wide, looking on the bright side, this one camera should take pretty good photos, as it has the same fusion camera as the iPhone 16, and not the same wide-angle lens as the iPhone 15. Surprises, surprises. And because of a better panel, the screen on the 16e doesn't go nearly as bright or as dim as the 16s. You also don't get MagSafe for some reason, which is something they could have easily added, but didn't. I don't use MagSafe personally, but I know many people that do. It's disappointing considering we've had this since the iPhone 12, and considering this is supposed to be based on the iPhone 14, that's kind of weird. And even more disappointing, we don't have an ultra-wideband chip, which is something we've had since the iPhone 11. This means no connecting to your HomePod by just hovering your phone over it, no name drop, and most importantly, no precision finding your lost AirTag or AirPods. Some things were downright stupid or weird, such as the resolution being barely worse, even though they say it is the same on their website. Small difference, and these are things you can live with. But I feel like every time a new tech product, or heck, even any product comes out, the company making the product can see the rumors and all the hopes that we have for this new thing. And it kind of feels like Apple is just trolling us right now and doing the exact opposite of what we wanted. See, you notice that instead of calling this the new refreshed iPhone SE, they have named it the iPhone 16e, something they'd never done before, and added it as the final addition to the iPhone 16 series. And this name, it suggests a lot more than just being the budget-friendly iPhone 16. This E name likely means we will get a budget-friendly iPhone refresh every single year, because it would be awkward having, say, the iPhone 19 selling while we still have the 16e. And I guess we should have suspected a name change, as in the teaser that Tim Cook posted on X for this release, he said things about meeting the newest member of the family, most likely meaning the iPhone 16 family. But the other thing that comes along with this new name makes us think that this isn't just the same old phone anymore. And by that, I mean budget phone. Even though in all the rumors we thought this could get a starting price of $499 or $549 at the very most, Apple has came out and decided to piss everyone off by dropping a bomb. This phone will start at $600. $600. And yes, on one hand, what did we expect? Apple has discontinued the iPhone 14 and basically replaced it with this, which I think nearly everyone would get over the iPhone 14. And they still sell the 15, which doesn't have Apple Intelligence, an action button, and a few more perks of the iPhone 16e. But on the other hand, can you even call that a budget phone anymore? Because when I think of budget, or actually mid-range phone, I think at the very most under $550 or $500. And yes, I'm still sure the iPhone 16e will sell pretty well because, well, it's an iPhone. And along with that, the new cheapest iPhone. The ecosystem, the more users, and multiple other factors will cause people to buy this over, say, the Pixel 8a. And would you look at that, here comes the nearly 1-year-old Pixel 8a, which is objectively better and priced at only $499. The 8a cuts much fewer corners from the 8 than the 16e from the 16, and it gives you an ultra-wide camera, very slightly chunkier bezels, a little different feeling back, no macro photography, and heck, even a 120Hz refresh rate, which is not even something on the iPhone 16. And even though I was already thinking the 8A would be better than the 16e before it came out, this $600 price point just makes it so much more well-rounded than the 16e. And considering the 9A will come out in March, I'm sure the 16e will be absolutely demolished by the value of that. Even looking at insanely budget-focused phones, take the $350 Nothing Phone 2A, it still has noticeably better specs than that of the 16e, all except for the chip. That isn't to say this is a bad phone, it's a perfectly okay phone that you wouldn't mind buying if you don't care about having a really good experience. But to be honest, there is just one simple thing Apple could have done to make this phone miles better, and they didn't do it. Because the thing is, when you walk into an Apple store, it seems like there's a certain type of product that fits pretty much every use case you need, but this iPhone 16e, it feels more like something I would only buy if I was shopping for a phone and literally only had $600, nothing more. It feels like before Apple's announcement, I could have actually recommended this phone to you if you were looking for a budget-oriented phone. But I'm not so sure this is just the case anymore. I don't even think Apple should market this as the iPhone 16e, because it's not an iPhone 16. If they had just made it $500, this phone could have been a huge hit, a huge smash, as Apple pretty much dominates the flagship phone space, especially in the US, right? And making a truly good budget phone could have changed the game for them and made many Android users actually consider switching to iPhone. What a bummer. What a real bummer. They could have done the obvious thing and given us what we wanted, what we had hoped for, a budget-friendly iPhone that was actually good. But they didn't, and I'm sure this first product they are launching this year, the iPhone 16e, might be the biggest flop from them we've seen and will see for a long time. If you're gonna get an iPhone right now, just spend $200 more for the 16. Or if I were you, I'd just get the 15 Pro, which will be much better and you can find refurbished for only $65 more than the 16e. And I gotta say, by the end of the day, this is probably the worst marketed iPhone in forever, aside from only possibly the Apple Intelligence and iPhone 16 mess that still hasn't been resolved. Apple, you're falling off. Let's hope you can do better next time. Alex Explained, signing out.